All right, let's talk Michigan Wolverines football. Look, Michigan fans, you guys are obviously riding on cloud nine right now. Massive statement victory in the game. They sent the entire country a message. Hats off to Coach Moore and the entire coaching staff. All the players, of course, phenomenal victory. But Coach Harbaugh has come out recently and made a really smart move, some really key comments that I think highlight not just why Michigan's good this year or last year, but why they'll be great in the future as well. Let's pull up the report. This is from AP News. Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh is ready to take less money if it means college football players and other athletes would be paid. For the players to be compensated, I'm using my voice, and I would take less money for the players to have a share. I hope other coaches would use their voice to express the same thing, Harbaugh said Sunday. Harbaugh, a longtime advocate for paying players, made his comment during a news conference to preview his team's Big Ten championship game against Iowa on Saturday in Indianapolis. He said he was reminded of the sacrifice athletes make when offensive lineman Zach Zinter broke his leg in the third quarter of the Wolverines' 30-24 win over Ohio State. Who can be against the players being compensated for what they do, or at least even minimum wage? I mean, who would argue against that when there's injury or not? Said Harbaugh, whose base salary is $7.63 million this year with an additional $3 million in bonuses possible. So this is obviously, look, I think Harbaugh actually believed this. He's a genuine guy. He's an authentic guy. But this is really, really smart because this is a program right now that's got all the eyes on it for some good reasons, some bad reasons, some reasons that aren't unfair. And frankly, they're arguably right now the second best team in the country, maybe number one right up there with Georgia. When you have all this attention on you, what should you do when you have all this energy? That is when the great coaches and the great programs, they recruit like crazy and they do it with statements like this. This is phenomenally smart by Coach Harbaugh because every single recruit in the country is like, yeah, I want to get paid. I want to get some sort of stipend or NIL money or whatever. And you have a coach who takes this opportunity to use his limelight. All the attention's on Harbaugh right now. This is the AP. This isn't like, a Michigan fan blog or something like that. This is national news media. Everyone wants to hear what Harbaugh has to say, obviously all of his circumstances and things like that. And he takes this opportunity to say, hey, listen, I think players should be paid. You talk about getting recruits. You talk about getting transfers. This is what gets it done. This is the genius of Jim Harbaugh, and this is exactly why I think Michigan will be great in years to come. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on Harbaugh's comments here and, of course, everything future with this Wolverines program. But first, Michigan fans, let's talk about the here and now. Got the Big Ten championship game coming up against Iowa. Give us your prediction, Wolverines, Hawkeyes, final score in the comment section below. But Miles, what do you think of Harbaugh's move here and just everything with Michigan right now in this program?
Yeah, Nick, I think it's a really great sentiment by Harbaugh. Like you said, Michigan riding on cloud nine, big win over Ohio State. It feels like all of the negativity towards Michigan is in the past. This win kind of alleviates a lot of that. And a lot of people will jump to conclusions and say, oh, wow, nice of Jim Harbaugh to say this now. He's trying to make himself in a better spotlight. Something along those lines. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of Ohio State fans jumping in there saying all kinds of stuff like that. But let's jump back to August 28th of 2023 this year when Jim Harbaugh said this. He said, "We all should be about diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm calling for a system that is fair, equitable, and benefits all involved," Harbaugh said. "Don't exclude the student athletes from the profits. My opinion, you can't say you're about diversity, equity, and inclusion if you aren't willing to include the student athletes in revenue sharing." This is, of course, talking about media deals and sharing profits and funds with student athletes. Same sentiment here. Harbaugh's always been about paying the players what they deserve. He knows how important they are to the NCAA. He knows how important they are to the television ratings. He knows how important they are to him and the school, and he's always been about it. Obviously, he can say stuff like that. It's not really going to change what the NCAA or what the TV programs are going to do as far as revenue sharing with the players. What he can do is now take the next step and say, hey, look, I'm willing to give up some of my salary to go towards the players. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh, very successful. He makes a lot of money. I think it said like what, $7-something million a year plus
6, yeah.
bonuses, stuff like that. He does pretty well for himself. But the fact that he's saying, hey, I will give up some of mine as almost being the first guy to be the example. Like, look, I'm doing this so we can hopefully move things forward. This is all I can do at this point now. I can't control what anyone else is going to do, but this is what we got to do to keep the players, keep the players happy, keep them paid, keep things going. I think that's a big move from Harbaugh, and I think that just it's going to help in recruiting. It's going to help in things going forward, especially since he's been parroting this all offseason, all last year. He's been doing this for a long time. This isn't some new revelation by Jim Harbaugh. He truly cares about the players. I'm sure seeing that player get injured and potentially, hindering their career because of it really, struck in his mind, hey, we got to do some stuff about this. So I love the comments by Harbaugh. I really think it's heartfelt, and I think a lot of new recruits are going to notice that going forward.
And Miles, you make a great point because look, last season, a lot of coaches were asked across all of college football, what are you doing for DEI initiatives? And I love the way Harbaugh takes that opportunity against spotlights on him. People are talking about one topic, right? Last year was the DEI stuff. This week, it was the Big Ten championship game. He takes both opportunities to sit there and say, hey, I want the players to make more money. Right. That's just the kind of guy he is, right? That's the kind of leader he is. And that's why you have coaches love this guy. That's why you have players love this guy. His authenticity is what really rings true. And again, that's what wins people over in the recruiting game. That's what wins people over in the transfer portal. So look, this is obviously smart moves by Harbaugh, but he's been consistent, to your point, with this motif for a very long time. And trust me, that's what really works. That's why guys love coming to Michigan and playing for this guy. And that's why you don't get the same vibes from the Ohio States, from the USCs, from other programs, right? The only other two programs that have even sort of a similar vibe right now is Alabama and Georgia, right? To be totally honest. And, they're the two teams probably contending with Michigan to win the national title this year. Not to take anything away from Texas or Washington or Oregon, but let's be real here. It's probably going to be Michigan, Georgia when it comes right down to it. But again, this is just what it takes, right? If you have an authentic coach that's focused on the players, focused on recruiting, you'll win a lot of football games. And credit for Harbaugh for being that kind of guy, but also it's a smart move by him by staying consistent and authentic. So no matter how you slice it, Michigan fans obviously feel great based on that victory against Ohio State. Congratulations, 3 in a row. Well done. But I tell you what, the future's in great hands as long as Coach Harbaugh is running the show.